Hey folks, this is Bob coming at you from Fire Mountain Outdoors. Today Mark's running the camera because he didn't want to get his hands dirty. So today's episode, sponsored by Webyshops.com, is we're going to break down and clean a modern sporting arm. Today we have the AR15. So to start off, we need to make sure that the action is clear and there is nothing in the chamber. Visually inspect. Make sure there is nothing in there and assure that the rifle is clear. We don't want an accidental discharge. So, for those of you that are unfamiliar, an AR-15 modern sporting arm is broken down into a couple major components. What we have is the lower receiver, which is connected to the buttstock, and the upper receiver, which contains the bolt mechanism and the barrel. And to do so, we have these two pins. We're going to push those through with our thumbs and get those started. Then you can just grasp the edge of the bolt here with your fingernails, and that'll click into place. And you'll see that our receivers are now hinged off this front pin. So we can go ahead and pull this one all the way through, separating the two. So we're going to do this in segments. We have the lower receiver here. We're going to set this aside. We're going to concentrate on the upper receiver for right now. So from here, we need to extract our bolt carrier assembly. And to do so, we have our charging handle. We're going to pull this to the rear. And when it's out about 3/4 of the way, you can take your bolt. We're going to slide this out, just like that. We take our charging handle and we'll get to the point where you start to feel some friction on it. You can angle that down and that drops out of place. Set that out of the way. So now we have the upper receiver broke down and we'll be able to work on this here in just a moment. To start off, we're going to work on the bolt. So now that we've removed the bolt carrier from the rifle, we're going to take it apart so we can get it cleaned. And to do so, we need to remove this pin, which holds our firing pin in place. And the way we can remove that is if we go back from the right side, we have a little detent here. We can just take like our standard 223 or 5.56 round, and we can push that in. That's going to start our little pin out. So now we can take our bullet again and just pull our pin out. We want to set that aside. We don't want to lose that. And now we push our bolt back in and tap. There's our firing pin. And since we have our bolt pushed in, we have this retaining pin right here, this cam. We're going to rotate that 45 degrees. Now we can pull this straight up. Set that aside. And now we can take our bolt and retract that from the carrier. So now we have our bolt broken down into the main pieces. So now we can go ahead and clean it. For cleaning the bolt, I like to start off by using some of these oil wipes. You can get these at your local gun shop. And they're pre-moistened with a cleaner and a lubricant already on it. And we're just going to wipe everything down. Alright, when you feel you have that good and clean, we can go ahead and set that aside. Move on to our firing pin. And again, just using like the same pre-moistened gun oil towelette, just wipe everything down. So now you can see how nice and clean that firing pin is. Same thing here. We are just going to wipe it down. Set that aside. And just repeat on the carrier assembly. Now all of our external pieces have been cleaned, so we're going to go ahead and start cleaning the internals. We're going to start by cleaning out this gas key. And one good way to get in there and to clean around is by using some old-fashioned like pipe cleaners. And you can either get these, you know, at a gun shop or an old tobacco store. So we've got some hoppies here. We've got a few different varieties. We're going to go ahead and use this new semi-auto version. It's got quite a bit of good cleaning capabilities to it. Just going to take our pipe cleaner, dip that in, and we're going to take this and we're going to drop that right into the gas key. There is a bit of a 90-degree angle that comes down in here, and we can push that all the way through. Probably can't see it because of lighting, but we can see that that has gone all the way down into the bolt cavity. And so we'll repeat the other side. Just going to drive that in there. Work that back and forth. We're going to clean the inside. So we're going to start by going through the bolt cavity here. And we're going to use a brush to work any residue out of it. So again, we're going to go back to like our hoppies or whatever cleaning solvent that we're using. Just going to give a quick dip. And we're going to go through the front side and just kind of bristle around in here a little bit. And that'll break free any sort of buildup that we have on the inside. So we've done that. Now we're going to go to the swab. And this is going to pick up any material that we have in there. And again, just kind of work that around until that's nice and filthy. And then we're going to go back to our wire brush, and we're going to take some swabs that we have, and we're just going to run these in there. And this will help take out any of our filth that we need to get out of there. Just kind of run that in there, pull that out. I like to run a couple of those, make sure we get that good and clean. And probably can't see that, but it's nice and clean on the inside now. And so from here, we have our standard AR15 chamber brush, and we're going to run this into the back side. So again, we're going to want to get that a little bit moist with our solvent, and we're going to run this into the back. And there is a recess in the back here for the firing pin, and we're just going to work that in there. And while we're doing that, that's cleaning the inside real well. And we can go ahead and work that back out. And we're just going to run a couple patches in there. Get all that material that we helped knock out. And again, I'm just using a 410 brush for this. It seems to work real well. So now, visually inspect. And everything looks really clean on the inside. So from now, we can set that aside. We're going to go back to the bolt, which we cleaned externally earlier. We want to clean the inside of that hole right there. And another good use for this chamber brush is it's just the right diameter that we can stick right in there. So we got our solvent. We're going to run that inside. We're just going to give that a couple passes. That's good and clean. Just run a patch through that. Just going to run that dry because we already had that solvent in there. And that's good and clean. Then we just take another piece of cloth there. Just wipe any excess oil and stuff that comes out the other side. Like to clean the inside of that as well. And again, we have these pipe cleaners. Take that, just fit that back there. Just kind of work that around. Until that's clean. Again, take our patch. Just going to wipe any excess oil and cleaning residue that we have off there. Now lastly, we have this pin. You just kind of want to visually inspect that. If you have like a Q-tip or something, you know, if you see any residue in there, you can clean that out. So now we have all of our pieces cleaned and lubed and ready to be reinstalled. So we're going to take our bolt and we're going to reinstall this back into our carrier assembly. A couple things to make note is we have this hole right here in the middle of our bolt, and we also have this recess right in here where that's going to line up. To do so, we need to make sure that our extractor is in about the 10 o'clock position when we reinstall that. That ensures that when our brass is ejected out of the rifle, that it is ejecting through the ejection port. Plus, I don't think it'll really allow you to reinstall this pin here if it's in the wrong way. So we're going to drop that down in through that hole, and then we're going to rotate this 90 degrees. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pull that bolt forward now, and we can take our firing pin, drop that into place. And lastly, we're going to take this retaining pin and we're going to push that through. So now that that's securely in place, we can see that everything is holding it together properly, and the bolt has been completely cleaned and ready to be inserted back in the rifle.